Southern Idaho's rock station, 103.1 The Edge, about 8:10, and Popular Monster, Falling in Reverse. Speaking of which, full disclosure, I have been pee-pants excited about chatting with this guy since I found out that it was going to happen. Ronnie Radke, frontman of Falling in Reverse, joins me. And Ronnie, I want to start things off by first saying that you, my friend, have an incredible ability of saying F you in the most poetic way possible.
Oh, really?
Look, man, anybody who has spent any amount of time on the internet with you or your band knows that you have been kicked. You've been kicked hard a lot.
Yes.
And every time it seems like you get back up and you swing harder than the last. And dude, I know that's an inspiration for a lot of folks, mostly because I know that's an inspiration for myself.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I just try to, I think that's what makes me want to do it, man. I don't know. It's probably a bad upbringing.
Yeah.
The overwhelming, it's like the adversity is what gives me the ambition kind of thing, you know. So I think that without it, then I think like as a whole for like humanity, without adversity, you wouldn't have people wanting to be number one all the time. I think it's the idea of proving people wrong. You know what I mean? That's why we have NFL teams and UFC fighters, and you know, it creates ambition. You know, adversity does. So.
I mean, look, I will be the first to admit that I have fallen down the Ronnie Radke Falling in Reverse wormhole on YouTube and the internet and whatever else more than a few times. And most recently, I was watching some cell phone video of you guys early on in this tour, which was right about the time you released Zombified. And it has to be one of the greatest moments of redemption when you play this song for the first or second or third time or whatever, and the song hasn't been out for more than like 24, 48, maybe 72 hours. And you already have this entire crowd of people singing along to you and feeling what you're feeling. That's got to feel good.
That's insane. Yeah, it's the craziest reaction I've ever had in my life. Popular Monster is second place to that, which is one of the biggest songs I've ever released, if not the biggest. So, yes.
Well, Popular Monster not only went number one on all of the rock charts, but wasn't it like the number one or number two streamed rock song for 2020?
Yes, it was number one for like 76 weeks or something. Or something like that. I don't remember, but it was insane.
And I don't want to get hung up on the bullshit that you've been through, but when you see something like this happen, when there are that many people relating to what you're saying, dude, that has to have a nice, warm and fuzzy effect.
100%. I mean, all the other songs I've had have done super well. Mm-hmm. I just never gotten any huge radio breaks, and it just broke at radio, which is an unorthodox song. You wouldn't normally assume that would be on the radio, so I was blown away. I think that's why it's so much better, because I did not write it for the radio. My intention was not for you know how bands write songs and you could tell it's for the radio.
Yeah.
This one was like, this one doesn't feel like a radio song, and everybody played it because they loved it so much, and I was like, damn, that's awesome.
Well, and you hear a lot of bands now, and I don't want to say they're mimicking your sound, but you came out with Popular Monster, and you were incorporating all of these things into a rock song that you wouldn't typically hear. I mean, you're rapping, you've got some hip-hop beats in there, and, you know,
yeah.
at first, radio gets the single, and they're like, okay, this is a little different, and then by like the third listen, you can't get the song out of your head, and now 2 years later, well, I mean, the success speaks for itself.
Yeah, man, so thank you. Yes, I'm very happy, very glad to be where I am right now. Very grateful. It's a wild ride for sure.
What is it like being back out on the road again? I mean, this whole world has been shut down for so long, and finally, it seems like just in the last 6 months, artists like yourself are able to get back up in front of a live crowd. That's got to feel so good.
It feels amazing, and it's also confusing because one city requires insane amount of masking, and the next one does not care. So I'm just wondering when they're going to make up their mind. I just don't. It's a weird time to be alive, I'll tell you that. Because you go to one city, and they're like, put your mask on. The next one, they're like, we don't care. And then, but at the shows, it's just very confusing time, man.
That's got to be a lot of the inspiration behind Zombified. I mean, there's a lot of emotions that are going into that song, but there's a lot happening in rock right now where artists are pissed off, not necessarily because they're for or against one thing or the other, but it's such a damn confusing time.
It is confusing. I'm tired of it. And people automatically assume that I wrote a conservative rock song, and they have no idea.
Oh, for sure, man.
I'm not conservative. I'm not democratic. I'm none of that. I'm literally nothing. You know, I don't like politics. I'm not a politician, or like I'm not into that stuff. So it's funny to see people just assume. It's just how people are. They just assume, you know. And that song is way deeper than, you know, red or blue cities and states. It's about humanity as a whole, you know.
That's one of the most frustrating things for me too, in some of the songs that are coming out that are about this time. So many artists spent quarantine or lockdown or whatever you want to call it writing, because that's what you do. I mean, your emotions are poured out onto a piece of paper and then crafted to a song or a beat or whatever it may be. And it's almost like people they've gotten really good at being assholes, for one. And two, it's like they want you to pick a side. They want you to say, well, I'm for this or I'm for that. But at some point, when do we all get to come back together?
Yeah, it's dividing and conquering. It's weird, man. And I don't want to get too deep into it. It just feels so divided everywhere you go. You're either this or you're that. And if you're not, then you is what everybody's saying. And so
I'm waiting for the time that we can all get together again in an auditorium. And it's almost like, and I've been to a handful of shows here in the last few months, and it's almost like there's this vibe in the crowd where if somebody's judging you for wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, or somebody's judging you for getting in the crowd and being close. But I mean, that's what a concert's all about. I mean, it's more than going out and watching your favorite band play a set. It's about unity and coming together. And I think from what I've seen anyway on this tour, you guys have done a really good job of making it all-inclusive.
Yes, it's all-inclusive. Everybody's welcome. There's no dividing. I'm not getting on stage and preaching about politics and none of that stuff. It's so opposite of what people assume, you know. And I just want it to be normal again. I just want to go back to normal, whatever normal is, actually. There's no normal, is there?
I know, that's what they keep saying. It's the new normal. Well, what is it? There's nothing normal about the new normal. If this is the new normal, I don't like it.
I don't like it either, dude. It's weird. I'm going to stand my ground. People trying to cancel people over something they said 15 years ago, getting fired from your job, and people wanting nothing to do with you because it hurts their business because you said something that was politically okay to say 15 years ago, but now it's not, so you're in trouble. That's unacceptable. That's very confusing. Doesn't make any sense to me.
And
so that's where I'll stand.
Yeah, and when I said you are so poetic at saying F you, that's exactly what I meant. I appreciate that attitude, and I appreciate the fact that you're up willing to fight for what you believe, and you're certainly leading the way. I don't pick out Ronnie Radke as to be a follower of any stretch of the imagination. Yeah,
it was pretty bold to do it, and on TikTok, they're attempting to cancel me, but it's not going to work because I work for myself at the end of the day, and if I really have to, I'll literally just fund everything myself. Can't cancel somebody that works for themselves. I don't have any sponsors. I don't care. You know, like I don't care if I had a Nike sponsor and they drop me because of the bad image. I don't care about that stuff. Some people do though, but it's not like I'm a terrible person. It's just really dumb. It feels like everybody is not allowed to make mistakes, man. You have to walk on eggshells because you're not human. Nobody's human anymore. You're not allowed to say something that you shouldn't have said like 10 years ago or whatever. You're not allowed.
I love what you're putting out into the world, and I wanted to mention real quick, because I know you've got other things to do and better places to go, but the music video for Zombified is one of the greatest things that has happened in terms of rock music videos. And I think it was another interview of yours that I was watching, and you're like, look, I want it to be spectacular. You poured all your own money into this thing, and it's the friggin' coolest thing I have seen, man.
Thank you so much, man. You should see the next one. Oh, my God. The next one's just as cool. So thank you.
On that note, do you have a release date for the forthcoming album Neon Zombie yet?
No, I can't talk about that.
Sure.
It's more of like you know what I mean? I like to surprise. I like to be like, I like to surprise more than just telling people it's coming kind of thing.
Well, dude, I tell you what, I think I speak for all of Idaho when I say we are impatiently waiting to see what's next from you, Ronnie Radke, and Falling in Reverse. Dude, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me this morning.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Brother, enjoy the rest of the tour. I will be standing by waiting for the next big thing.
Thank you. All right, later.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.